The Krathexi Empire had stood for 11,000 years. Its towers pierced the clouds of 100 worlds. Its fleets darkened the space between stars. And its bureaucracy had catalogued every known species in the galaxy with meticulous precision. They had conquered, absorbed or exterminated thousands of civilizations. They were, by every measurable standard, unstoppable, until they disturbed the humans. Varen stood in what remained of the Imperial archives on Krathex Prime, the homeworld that had once been the jewel of the Empire. Now it was a graveyard. The crystalline spires that had taken centuries to grow lay shattered across the landscape like broken teeth. The sky, once a pristine violet, was choked with ash and debris. And the silence, the terrible absolute silence, pressed against his auditory membranes like a physical weight. He was a historian, not a soldier. His forearms trembled as he sifted through the rubble, searching for any surviving records. The Krathexi prided themselves on documentation. Surely someone had recorded what happened. Surely someone had written down the sequence of catastrophic decisions that had led to this. His searching appendage finally closed around a data crystal, miraculously intact. With shaking hands, he inserted it into his neural interface. The recording began 3 standard years ago. The Krathexi High Command had identified Earth as a priority target. A single system species barely capable of faster-than-light travel, rich in resources and genetic diversity. The preliminary surveys had been encouraging. Humans were fractious, divided among themselves, prone to irrational emotional responses. They had nearly destroyed themselves multiple times with primitive nuclear weapons. An easy conquest, the War Masters had declared. There had been one dissenting voice in the archives, a xenobiologist named Tharvex, who had studied human culture extensively. His report was buried on page 4012 of the annexation proposal. Warning: human behavior patterns demonstrate extreme protective responses when territorial or social boundaries are violated. Recommend non-interference protocol. Historical analysis shows humans possess unusual capacity for sustained aggression when threatened. Psychological profile suggests species-wide tendency toward what they call spite, willingness to accept mutual destruction rather than submit to perceived injustice. The High Command had dismissed the report. Humans were weak. Humans were primitive. Humans would kneel or die. The Krathexi made first contact with Earth by destroying the human colony on Kepler 442b. 300,000 humans, men, women, children, vaporized in an instant as a demonstration of Krathexi superiority. They expected surrender. They expected fear. They did not expect Rhea. Varen's membranes fluttered as he accessed the next file. Security footage from the Imperial command ship Eternal Dominion, dated 2 years and 7 months ago. A single human had been captured during a raid on a mining outpost. Standard procedure: take a specimen, study it, discard it. The human was female, unremarkable by their standards. She called herself Rhea. She was a mining engineer, not a soldier. She had been writing a letter to her daughter when the Krathexi took her. The interrogation recording showed her sitting in the cell, hands folded, expression blank. The Krathexi interrogator had employed standard intimidation techniques: pain, deprivation, psychological torture. Rhea had endured it all without breaking, and then she had spoken. "You killed my brother on Kepler 442b, she said, her voice flat and cold. "He was a teacher. He taught children music. You killed him, and you killed 300,000 others. And you think we'll surrender?" The interrogator had laughed, a chittering sound of amusement. Rhea had smiled then. It was not a happy smile. "We have a saying on Earth," she continued. "Fuck around and find out. You just fucked around. Now you're going to find out what humans do when you take everything from us." Varen fast-forwarded through the files, his horror mounting with each passing entry. Rhea had escaped. No, she had been allowed to escape. The Krathexi had implanted a tracking device in her, expecting to follow her back to Earth's military installations. Instead, Rhea had led them on a chase across 12 systems, always staying one step ahead, always leaving traces of her passage. And everywhere she went, humans followed. Not immediately. Not obviously. But they came. Human ships began appearing at the edges of Krathexi space. Small vessels at first, scouts, observers. The Krathexi fleet moved to intercept and destroy them. The humans retreated, then came the commerce raids. Human privateers attacking Krathexi supply lines. Nothing major, just enough to be irritating. The High Command dispatched battle groups to hunt them down. The battle groups never returned. Baron found the tactical reports. Human ships were technologically inferior, yes, but they fought with a ferocity that defied logic. They rammed Krathexi vessels at relativistic speeds. They detonated their own reactors in suicide attacks. They hacked into Krathexi computer systems and turned automated defenses against their creators. One human captain, when his ship was crippled and boarding was imminent, had manually overridden the life support and opened all airlocks simultaneously. His last transmitted words were, "If I can't have my ship, neither can you." The Krathexi had not understood. Surrender was logical. Survival was paramount. Why would anyone choose mutual destruction? They did not understand spite. The war escalated. The Krathexi committed more fleets, more resources. Humanity seemed infinite in its capacity to absorb losses and return stronger. Where the Krathexi saw wasteful expenditure of life, humans saw martyrs and heroes. Every fallen human became a rallying cry for 10 more. And then Rhea reappeared. She transmitted a message to every Krathexi node simultaneously. Farron found the recording, watched it with growing dread. Rhea looked older, harder. Her eyes were empty of mercy. "You wanted to conquer us," she said. "You wanted to add us to your empire, to make us another entry in your archives. But you made a mistake. You thought we were like you, that we'd calculate odds, accept defeat, submit to superior force." She leaned closer to the camera. "We don't calculate odds when we're angry. We don't surrender when we're hurt. We burn the world down and salt the earth so nothing ever grows again. You killed my brother. You killed millions of us. And now we're going to kill all of you." It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The final entries in the archive were fragmentary, desperate. Human fleets had penetrated deep into Krathexi space. They didn't conquer, they destroyed. Planets were rendered uninhabitable. Stations were reduced to debris. The Krathexi begged for negotiation, for terms, for mercy. Humanity's response was silence. The last entry was from the Supreme Commander himself, recorded as human ships entered orbit around Krathex Prime. "We have made a grave error. The humans have no interest in conquest or subjugation. They want extinction, ours. This is not war, this is extermination. If any Krathexi survive to read this, know that we doomed our species the moment we disturbed the humans. They are not like us. They are not like anyone. They are..." The recording ended abruptly. Baron stood in the ruins, the data crystal clutched in his trembling hands. Around him, the wind howled through broken structures. He was alone. The last Krathexi on the homeworld, perhaps the last anywhere. He heard the sound of boots on rubble. Turning slowly, he saw her. Rhea. Older now, her hair streaked with gray, but unmistakably her. She carried no weapon. She didn't need one. "You're the historian," she said. It wasn't a question. Baron's translator struggled with his terror. "Yes, I'm just documenting. I'm not military." I know." Rhea walked past him, surveying the destruction. "I wanted someone to survive. Someone to remember. Someone to tell the story." "Why?" Baron whispered. "Why spare me?" Rhea turned to face him, and her expression was as cold as the void between stars. "Because someone needs to warn the galaxy. There's only one rule now. Never disturb the humans. Write it down, historian. Make sure everyone knows. Make sure they never forget what happens when you break that rule." She walked away, leaving Varen alone in the ashes of an empire. He began to write.